going to show you how to do the cabled cast on. That is another alternate cast on method, similar to the knitted on cast on, with a little bit of a slight change. Similarly to the knitted on cast on, the cable cast on does not require you to figure out how much tail you need. So it allows you to just pick amount of tail, which I usually suggest to be 6 to 12 inches, and then you can begin casting on and use your working yarn to cast on as many stitches as you need to. So if you start with a slip knot, you would just place the slip knot on the needle and then get one additional stitch, or you can start with the long tail cast on without a slip knot, which is the way that I like to do it. So once you get those 2 stitches on the needle, you are set and ready to begin casting on. You'll place that needle in your left hand, and the stitches are now going to get worked with the right needle, but placed back onto the left needle. So my right needle, instead of going into the stitch like a normal knit stitch or like a knitted on cast on, we will actually place the needle in between the 2 stitches. So once it's in between the 2 stitches, we will get a stitch by knitting it. But then instead of keeping it on the right needle, we are going to place it back onto the left-hand needle. So that's how we're going to keep casting on. We place our needle in between the last 2 stitches on the left-hand needle. We work a knit stitch and then place it back on the left-hand needle. I find that it's very helpful to leave that last stitch a little bit on the looser side until you get your new stitch on the right needle. Then you can tension and add a little bit more tension onto that last stitch. So if you leave these 2 stitches looser, it will allow you to go into there much easier. And then once you get that new stitch, then you can tighten those stitches. And it will take a little bit of practice to get that tension right where the cast on is getting even tensioning across the row. So this is one that you might want to practice a few times before you actually go ahead and use it. So we're getting new stitches, putting them back on the left needle, and then we can tighten and continue adding. So you'll continue doing this until you have the number of stitches cast on that you are required to for your project. Once you have enough stitches on the needle and you are about to do your last stitch, it will be helpful to do a little trick here at the end. So if you just place your last stitch on the needle and you tighten it, you'll see here that those last 2 stitches cross over, and it can be confusing as to which stitch is the last stitch. So if before you place that stitch onto the needle, bring your working yarn to the front of the needle and then place your stitch on, and that will give you a really nice neat ending to your cabled cast on, and then you can begin working your stitches. That's the cabled cast on.